First thing we're going to be creating for assignment 2, phase 2, is the elevation. So I know that the assignment starts with other things that you need to start doing on the floor plan, but those are not going to be talking about now because they're very easy to be done even without the videos. I will be posting a video about them dedicated to what to add regarding the text style and all of those things. But for now, the most important thing is to add the symbols of elevations on the floor plan, and we also need to start creating the front elevation of our kitchen. Some of you will have more than 2 elevations. Some of you will have only 2 elevations. Some will have a cabinet or a pantry on other sides of the kitchen. So you might have a U-shaped kitchen, and then you have a pantry in here. So this means that you're probably going to have or a pantry on that side, which means that you will have all 4 sides of the kitchen will need to have an elevation. So anything with cabinetry, any millwork related to the kitchen will need to have an elevation. So for me, I have this part, and I have the part of the dining area, which is a high table and 2 breakfast or 2 stools. So that's the first part that I want you to start with in assignment 2 because it's extensive. I will be, and again, I have your floor plans, and then from the floor plans, I can tell how many elevations that you should have. So you will need to make sure that you have the proper number of elevations according to the type of kitchen that you have. Now, I will start creating an elevation symbol because I'm going to be looking this way and I'm going to be looking this way. So I'm exploring how to do this right now, how to do an elevation symbol. And it's very easy, actually. I'm going to click on circle, and that's how the elevation symbol is going to look like. And I'm just going to click here and make this around 135 in radius and enter. All right. And then after that, I'm just going to go to polygon, which lives under rectangle. I'm going to click on polygon. And from polygon, I want to make sure that what I'm going to give as the numerical values for the side is 3, because this is a triangle. So I'm going to click on 3 and enter. And then after that, I'm going to hover over the center. Now, to specify the center of the polygon, I want to make sure that OSNAP is set to center, center of the circle. And then I'm going to hover over and try to find that center. So immediately the center is coming up. I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to select the option circumscribed about the circle. So I'm just going to click here. And now I'm going to specify the radius. Now, to specify the radius, I just want to make sure that I am on the right side. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to turn object snap off, turn ortho mode on. Okay, and I just want to keep hovering. So I'm going to find that side where the tip of the pyramid or the triangle is on that side. So you need to make sure that you move your cursor several times to find that. And I'm going to add the radius because that's what's telling me on what's asking me on the command line. So I'm going to type 135, which is a radius of that circle. I'm going to click enter. Now you will see that you know, the circle isn't inscribed completely, and what we want to do is that we can actually want to move this line to be exactly in the middle, which is that horizontal line of the triangle. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click and drag upward. Now nothing is stopping me upward because I turned ortho object snap off. So I'm just going to turn object snap on again, making sure that the midpoint is selected and the center is selected and center is selected. And then I'm going to be clicking and dragging upward till I find the center. So I'm going to click here. So I clicked on this node point and I moved it upward. Okay, so now we actually have a circle inscribed or the triangle inscribed, but we're still not reaching to this result. So what we will do is that we're going to click on scale, and then we're going to click on the circle and click enter on the keyboard. And then we're going to scale this from the midpoint or from the middle or the center of the circle. So I'm just going to click, and then I'm going to drag upward. Now, when I drag upward, I should actually reach. So I'm just gonna turn off ortho because ortho is actually hindering me from snapping to the midpoint of one of the sides of the triangle, and then I'm gonna click. So we reached to this stage by making sure that we scaled the circle, and then we hovered over when we scale the circle. We're just going to do it again. Go to scale, select the object, enter on your keyboard, specify the base point as the center of the circle. So I'm going to click here, and then making sure that you have turned off ortho, and then I'm going to hover over and select that point here on, which is a midpoint of one of the sides. I'm going to click. So this is how to create the symbol. I'm just going to delete that one and keep the one that we created. Now, the only thing that is missing is to create the number, which is the number of the elevation, and the sheet where the elevations are going to be appearing on, the sheet number. I presume that since you already have the floor plan drawn, the floor plan is going to be on sheet number 1, because sheet 0 is always reserved for the cover sheet. So if the floor plan is sheet 1, so elevation should go on sheet number 2. So I'm going to click on text here, click on single line, and I'm going to be placing a text. I'm just going to hover here and then go upward a little bit, and then I'm going to start the start point inside. Now, specify the text height. It can be 4, it can be 5, it can be anything. I don't care because I'm going to scale it. So I'm going to accept whatever, provided that it's at least 1, whatever height is in there. And then I'm going to click enter on my keyboard. Specify the rotation angle. It is 0, and I'm going to click enter on my keyboard to accept that. And then the cursor is appearing. Type 1 because that's elevation number 1, and then click anywhere outside. And then after that, click escape. Now this is very small, right? So we're just going to scale it up. I'm going to click on scale, and then I'm going to click on or highlight the area around the text, enter on your keyboard, and then click where you think you can zoom in, and then click on the text, and then try to enlarge it a little bit like this. So click and drag. And then when you are satisfied with the size that you see on your screen, just click again. All right, so that's elevation 1, but the sheet number is 2. So I'm just going to do something. I'm going to click on copy, click here, enter, and then click and drag downward. If I turn ortho mode on, so this is going to be exactly in the middle, and then I'm going to click, and then right click and enter. So I have 1 over 1, but this is not what I want. I'm just going to double click on the 1. Once I double click, I can edit it. And then I'm going to type 2, and then I'm going to type anywhere outside and press escape on your keyboard, and that's elevation 1 and symbol 2 on sheet 2. So elevation 1 on sheet 2. Now I can move this a little bit, so I'm just going to highlight this, right click, and move this here. Okay, if you want to be exactly in the middle, all you have to do is just hover over the area of which is, for me, the midpoint is where my window is. I'm just going to hover over here, and I snap to that, and then I can place this here if I want to. Okay, now I want to make sure that I have another symbol for elevation 2 on the same sheet as well on that side, because I'm taking that elevation. I can do this by copy. Now I can do this by copy. I can do this by rotate. Let's try with rotate because we haven't been using this for some time. So I'm just going to click on rotate, highlight everything, enter on my keyboard, specify the base point. Okay, so I'm just going to specify, let's say the base point is here. Okay, and then specify a rotation angle. Now, am I moving the one that I just created? No, I actually need a copy of it. That's why there is something here called copy. So I'm just going to click on copy. So I will be rotating actually a copy of what I have. And then I'm going to click on ortho to make sure that the my elevation or my copy of the elevation symbol is positioned where I want it to be. So I click on dragging on that side, and then I click again. So I created a copy of the original while I was rotating. And you can do that by making sure that when you select the object and start to rotate, you are actually clicking on copy here in the command line, or type C on your keyboard and enter. So you can create another copy while you are rotating. Now, we need to change the 1 here because this is elevation 2 on sheet 2 as well. So we're not going to change anything down there. I'm just going to double click here, and then I'm going to type 2 and enter. All right, so right click and enter. And this is how you should have your elevation symbols set